What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan has developed several new technologies in the fight against agricultural waste. Our reporter Sandy Chi explains.
Agriculture is an essential part of daily life, producing food for the nation. But it also generates tons of waste. In a bid to reduce these leftovers, Taiwan has developed various innovative technologies to maximize the use of agricultural byproducts. Taiwan produces around 400,000 metric tons of pineapples every year, leaving up to 200,000 tons of pineapple peel as a byproduct. To make better use of the leftovers, researchers have developed a method to transform the peel into silage to replace forage in cattle feed. This approach is not only sustainable, but also reduces cost by 30% compared to importing grass for feed.
吃皮跟吃草一样，那就是营养成分的差异，额外的添加一些的饲养成分，然后把它营养给补足。
Meanwhile, Taiwan's Fisheries Research Institute has found new purpose for leftover oyster shells. They can be ground into powder and formed into underwater reef structures.
都是试图提供孔隙、阴影。 适合的基质，让这些珊瑚啦、藻类啦、附着无脊椎生物躲栖。
Despite developing several new techniques to repurpose byproducts, the government is still pushing harder for zero waste. It's now looking at other leftovers, such as rice husks.
我们下一步要把稻壳里面的这些高价的物质把它提出来，比如说硒，也是工业上一个很重要的产品。
For the past decade, Taiwan has been working with research institutions to achieve zero waste goals. Though there is still a long way to go, it is certain that such an approach is needed, as creative new ways will be key to tackling climate change for a greener world. Patrick Chen and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
It's not just Taiwan dealing with agricultural challenges. Around the world, climate change is forcing farmers to adapt in order to survive. On the coast of East Africa, seaweed has emerged as a much-needed source of revenue. Once again, our reporter Sandy Chi has the story.
These farmers are harvesting seaweed in their village on the Kenyan coast. This wasn't always their crop. In the past, many of these farmers grew cassava and maize. They shifted to farming seaweed because of higher temperatures, rising sea levels, and drought that have made farming the land increasingly difficult. Seaweed farming was introduced to Kenya in 2008 and has since expanded to cover 20 villages. Investment has brought improvements in infrastructure and electricity, and more economic opportunities, especially for women, who play leading roles in seaweed farming, while the men of the villages usually make a living from fishing.
Seaweed farming ndio inachukua pakubwa katika kulipia karo za watoto. Hata mzee akiniongeza pesa, huwa mimi tayari niko na zamani nafanya kuongezewa tu ngalipia watoto shule.
In 2022, Kenya produced around 100 tons of seaweed worth over $30,000, according to the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute. Dry seaweed is exported to countries including China, France, and the US, where it is used in soap, shampoo, and made into powder for food, or used as a raw material to produce collagen. Despite the rise in seaweed farming, farmers still face challenges.
Kuna changamoto ambazo hatuwezi kukabiliana nazo kama za tabia nchi. Kuna wakati wa jua kali, uamani unarudi nyuma, unashikwa na maradhi ya ice. Kuna wakati ule wa mvua, uamani ni mwingi, lakini wakati wa kukausha ndio shida. Nachukua muda mrefu kukausha, alafu pia mahali pa kukaushia uwe inakuwa shida.
Kenya sees a promising future in growing seaweed, as the global market for the crop has tripled in the last 2 decades, according to a UN report. For neighboring Tanzania, seaweed has become the country's 3rd largest export, and the industry employs some 26,000 people. Kenya is still a long way behind, but farmers are already thinking in terms of added value.
We are hoping to, at least in Kenya, to have an industry which can extract the pure carrageenan so that we farmers from Kenya can be able to export the carrageenan to other countries rather than exporting the raw material, because with the raw seaweed it's less value.
For these farmers, climate change is forcing people to make a living off the sea instead of from the land, a trend likely to be seen around the world as the climate crisis worsens, upending ways of life that had previously endured across countless generations. Howard Jung and Sani Chi for TaiwanPlus.
A popular type of jumbo squid has virtually disappeared from Peru's shores, and local fishers are pointing to the country's top trade partner, China. Harel Hughes reports from Peru.
Como se dice, del mar a la olla y de la a la casa.
Yolanda has been working in this fish market for over 5 decades, selling the catch of the day from local fishermen to Lima's residents. But a once affordable and abundant Peruvian specialty has now all but disappeared from her stand, a type of jumbo squid called pota. And she blames the hundreds of Chinese fishing ships trawling off the coast of Peru.
Antes la pota costaba 50 céntimos el kilo, después subió a un sol 50, después 2 soles, y ya cuando vinieron ya los chinos ya han depravado prácticamente la pota, ¿no? Y se lo han llevado.
801, Guangshan 801. Este es un buque de la Prefectura Naval Argentina. Detenga sus máquinas, detenga sus máquinas.
Foreign fishing fleets have been encroaching South America for the past 2 decades, following the migratory jumbo squid that travels up and down the western coast. This year has seen the most ships on record, with China at the lead, and their effect on the industry has been devastating.
Entonces acá la distingue a la pota porque agarra chiquita, mediana, grande, entonces no la deja ni reproducirse. Nosotros sí tenemos el criterio de dejar que ese animal se reproduzca, pues, ¿no? Hay temporadas que la dejamos descansar porque no vamos a hacer otras faenas.
In the past year, an estimated 700 industrial-sized Chinese ships have been spotted off Peru's coast, using bright lights to attract the squid at night, hauling in some 500,000 tons annually, leaving little for Peru's fishers. China has the largest overseas fishing fleet in the world, and Peru's smaller fishing communities use boats like these that just can't keep up. China's fleet has been tracked to just 200 nautical miles off the coast of Peru, sitting just outside the country's international waters. To address the problem, Peru's government has asked the international fleets to use location tracking. But according to a local NGO that tracks these fleets via nocturnal satellite imagery, they've seen China's fishing ships on the maritime border do the opposite.
Entonces lo que es muy curioso es como que un barco está pescando en la mía, así, en la mía 201, justo en el límite, está pescando y desaparece por 20 horas y luego aparece por aquí y sale así, una línea. Y es muy curioso ese tipo de patrones.
But the accusations against China's overseas fleet are more than just illegal fishing. Many cases of abuse have been documented aboard the vessels, including dire living conditions for workers, confiscated passports, debt-trapping contracts, and physical beatings.
The vessels are dark places. The sort of 1,000 miles there, the sort of indicators of extended stays in solitary confinement. You know, the sort of paleness and unhealthiness of the men's physique and their skin tone and their teeth just shows, but just also their demeanor shows that they're crushed.
Peru estimates this year's catch of pota will be less than half their usual, a devastating blow to a once thriving industry and the local fishers who depend on it for their survival. They fear that without action, pota could disappear from Peru's waters for good. Scott Huang and Harel Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally today, we take you to Hong Kong, where new pandas are meeting the public for the first time. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.